2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. Hello and welcome to my channel. My name is Lily and today we're going to be talking about my favorite planty genus, which is philodendrons. I've been obsessed with philodendrons since pretty much the beginning of my plant collection journey, and I've been collecting plants since 2021. Thank you for joining me. If you're from Instagram, I really appreciate you following me over. If you're new and you don't know who I am, my name is Lily. This is Lily's Leaves. This is my channel, and I've been trying to make videos for the last couple of months, but having a lot of computer problems, so I just resorted to my phone, and we're just going to make a video. That way I have one up, and maybe the old ones will go up later, and there'll be a disclaimer saying that they're old. Anyways, we're going to talk about philodendrons today because I think that they are one of the most jungly, interesting plants, and there's so many different features, and I'm just really obsessed with them. I don't think they have a lot of hype right now, especially certain ones that I don't see other people collecting. I'll give you references to whether or not this is how I'm wanting it to look, how I'm planning to style it, what's the plan, because most of them are pretty new, I would say. New as in I haven't had any of them for over a year. That's not true. I've had this one for over a year, but we struggled with root rot, and this is where we're at now. But most of them have been in my collection since August or sooner, and it is currently August. Oh, I guess it has been a year for some of them, but I moved back to Utah, where I live right now, in August of last year from Maine. So my plant collection was pretty much nothing. Anything my mom could keep alive was still alive, and that was it. And sorry, the AC just turned off, so hopefully you could hear me prior to that. But I have 14 philodendron on the table with me, and 2 of them are mounted to the wall, so I can't really take them off, but we'll do B-roll. Okay, which ones do I want to start with? Maybe I think I'm going to start with potential first. Like, here's the plan, here's what it's going to look like, and then we'll work up to ones that pretty much look good. I don't know if that makes any sense. Okay, I don't know. I guess I'll just start with what's in front of me. Yeah, and then I'll move them that direction, or that way. I'm just drinking some kombucha. Anyways, I'll start with this one. This is Philodendron Emerald Gold. I have the label because sometimes I forget what it is, and it has been living in a grow box pretty much the entire time I've had it. I normally transfer my new plants into a humidity box. I just have this ugly little prop box that has some lights and high humidity, but she's never graduated from there. I think I've had her since September, so that's 11 months, and I got her for $5 on clearance, and she was not looking good, so I just threw her in there hoping she would do well. Well, now she's doing really well. That's her newest leaf. Look at that color. It's reminding me a lot of the lemon lime. Oh, I have 17 philodendron because my lemon lime is in my prop station behind me. Okay, we'll get to that one as well. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But every time I take her out of humidity or even like acclimate her, she just does poorly and her roots rot. So I've just kept her in there, and hopefully when what's behind me is finished, and if you're on my Instagram, you'll know that I'm working on a project, and there will be a bunch of Instagram reels about it and a full YouTube video talking about what I'm doing, but this will be able to be displayed once that's finished. Anyways, so yeah, this is Philodendron Emerald Gold. I don't really think this is a very common philodendron, but look at those roots. Do you see that? That's a root. What the heck? They're so fuzzy and beautiful. I love most philodendron roots. Some of them I feel like are really fine and annoying and always rot. But I think I have really gotten a hang of a lot of philodendrons recently, so I'm not having as much rotting. We'll move forward. This is my philodendron melanochrysum, and this one is a potential plant. Like, this one has so much potential, and look at her. Like, that's a really good leaf for melanochrysum. And that one, and then it's popping on a new leaf. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. So this one came to me as a cutting, and I actually had 2 cuttings, and one of them just died. Didn't want to live, didn't make it. This one had a leaf on it initially, which it did just get rid of. The girl that I bought it from was growing it trailing, and she told me that they come in really orange and do really well for her. And I hear that Philodendron melanocrysum is so hard. So many people say the leaves get stuck. It likes high humidity. So there is a project going on behind me on the other side that involves a terrarium, and I want this to grow up and get big leaves in a terrarium because I feel like I could do that size up without a pole, but also have the high humidity. So yeah, that's my melanocrysum. I'm obsessed. She's beautiful. I guess we'll talk about this one. Oh my gosh, she's the size of my head. Literally the size of my head. This is my Philodendron squamiferum. Squamiferum. I don't know, but I feel like this one is underrated right now. Like, people don't really care about her, and they really care about the Florida varieties, which we'll talk about in a minute, but this is the parent plant to the Florida varieties. So yeah, this is a fuzzy petioled philodendron. Look how fuzzy, and it's super red, and it's hard, fuzzy, thick stems. My plan for her is currently she is actually just living her life up in no drainage moss. Oh, she has good roots. We might be able to just take her out. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see, like, that's a root. It's kind of dope. Yeah, so I think she needs more water, but I'll probably be taking her out of moss soon. She was a top cut from a really weird leggy one that I got from a plant shop for $17 recently, like maybe 2 or 3 months ago, which is pretty recent. But she is working on a new leaf, which is super cool. Sorry, that's our donkey. Not our donkey, my neighbor has a donkey, and I totally tune it out, and I should probably specify that that's the donkey before people freak out like there's a child dying in the background. Yeah, there's a donkey. But I love this girl. She looks like, look at that little kink, like what the heck? She is a jungle goddess. Like, this is what I would expect to find in the jungle and be like, whoa. So the idea is I want her to be trailing along my wall, like, but I haven't decided how yet because I have 2 plants that I have trailing with command hooks just across the wall. But I don't know if I could put command hooks on here. Like, I feel like that would mess up the hairs and be weird with her. But maybe I could get like extra big ones so it's not really pinching, it's just holding. Anyways, I think it'd be cool to have her trailing like along the top of my wall and then just going across. But I could also put her on a moss pole. I thought about that. I haven't really seen anyone growing her on a moss pole. I could grow her down, trailing, but I feel like she would look weird. Currently she has very small internodes, which I really appreciate, but I feel like if I grew her down, she would become really leggy. Anyway, so that's my Philodendron squamiferum. I love her. She's an icon. Oh, look at that red. Okay. Anyway, also, I gotta be quicker because there's 17 plants. So, we'll do these 2 because they are not gonna take very long. I have 2 plants that I don't know what they are. So if you have any ideas, I am on Palm Street, not as a seller, but just as a buyer. Occasionally. I used to be huge. I also used to just buy plants, like, a lot. I think I have almost 100 plants at the moment, but not quite. And I don't know, I'm realizing that it's just a dopamine high of buying, and I need to be more appreciative of what I already have. So I'm actually just not buying as much. And I also kind of had problems with online shopping, and I found a good plant shop near me that has gems sometimes. And so, well, near me, I mean an hour away, but you know what I'm saying. Yeah, so I just feel like online plant shopping is hard for me. But while I was on Palm Street, I got this one, which I got a node pack of random plants. Like, one was a syngonium, one is don't even remember what some of them were. Some of them I've given away, some of them I've kept and are now growing, but these ones are the only ones I haven't been able to identify because they're still in that philodendron juvenile state where they all kind of look the same. Like this one has really long leaves and this one has more round. This one almost looks like a heart leaf, but not quite because I've grown those out from wet sticks and they don't really look like this. Anyway, I'm hoping they're something cool, and if anybody knows what they are, if you know juvenile philodendron really well, I would really appreciate it because I don't know what they are. But those two are kind of cool. I really like the long one. I hope it's something interesting. Okay, we'll talk about the philodendron, which I think I've had the longest. Yes, this is the philodendron I've had the longest, which last Christmas, so Christmas, no, 2023 Christmas. Because Christmas of 2023, I got a coupon to a cool plant shop in Salt Lake, which is the capital of Utah, if you don't know Utah very well. And that's pretty much 2 hours from my house, I would say. And I went and I had a huge limit, which was like probably the most I'd ever spent on plants up to that point. I was also just a beginner plant parent at the time. I was into pothos and stuff that was easy, and I also lived in an apartment that was no light really. Like there was 2 windows and one was north facing and the other was east facing, and they just didn't get any light, and so I had grow lights. But this one I knew was special. Like I knew that it was a philodendron, and I'd never had a philodendron before, and most of the rare plants were really expensive. And I also feel like 2023 was only 2 years ago, but the plant market has changed so much in 2 years. Like things are so much cheaper and more accessible. Like they had a couple of rare plants and I knew they were rare because I'd seen them online, and I was like, oh my gosh, but they were like $100, and that was probably my whole limit. So I wasn't going to spend it on one plant. I was going to spend it on like $15 or $20 plants that I could have a couple of that trailed in my room, and I knew that this one did okay in lower light. Well, this one was a lot longer. It was huge, and I actually cut up part of it to sell, and I made some money because I knew that like people would be interested, because like nobody, especially in Utah where like there's just not that many people, and there's not that many people interested in plants. Maybe in Salt Lake, and especially now, but at the time, not really. So anyway, it was kind of a unique one, but it got raw after I got back from Maine, and so I had to start her over. But this is her started over after 1 year, and she looks pretty good. She's kind of a slow grower. Like but she just has that dark foliage vibe, and I hope to just get a really nice trailing one, and she'll just be a good almost filler plant. Like I love her, but she's not a squamiferum where it's like, whoa, she's so interesting. It's more of just like, oh, that green, like if you get her growing good, she's gonna be like stunning, you know what I'm saying? Anyways, that's too much time to talk about her. Too much of a rant. But here she is. We've done 6 plants. I gotta hurry up. Okay, we're gonna move on to some of my moss pole plants, which I love. This is my philodendron splendid, and this is where it gets kind of funny because I feel like, yes, houseplants weren't as accessible, but also clearance houseplants were underrated. So like if you had like this one I got a year ago, I got in August, and I got her for $5 because she looked bad. Like she didn't really look bad, she just looked a little bit leggy. Like this, I just cut her from this as a little node, and then she grew into this. Like what? She's doing so good. Which I mean isn't that much growth, but now that she's taken to the moss pole, she's grown into the moss pole and she's actually doing really well. So there's 1, 2, 3, 4 leaves, and then there was supposed to be 5, but I accidentally knocked off the one that was right here. I feel sad about it, but she's getting bigger leaves. She looks very similar to the varicosum, which is one of the parent plants to the splendid. I love the deep veins. I think that's so beautiful. But what I was saying about this one is I got her for $5 on clearance, and now I can't find any cool clearance plants. Like I think it almost blew up that clearance plants are sought after by certain people, and they'll pay for like a deal, but now the deal isn't even good because it's almost the same price as the plant, so you'd rather just buy the plant. Anyway, it's interesting how the market changes. But yeah, I was so thrilled. I didn't even really know what she was. I didn't know what she could become, but I'm wanting big leaves now. I know what I want. I want her to be huge. So we're just starting small. I use Houseplant Essential moss bowls. I don't know if they go to Canada and they go to US, but I don't know if they go anywhere else. But yeah, they're pretty good. I really like them. Sorry if the angle kind of changed. But the next plant I'm going to be talking about is my Philodendron Silver Sword. This one used to be the most glorious plant. I was obsessed. She had mature leaves. She was on a moss pole. But the moss pole she was on was a wire moss pole, and I won't be doing those ever again. We also had problems with our AC, and if you aren't familiar with most of the Western United States, it gets really hot in the summer. We live in northern Utah, which is probably the coolest part of Utah, temperature-wise, but it was still so hot because our AC broke, and that made it that every moss pole in the entire house was just completely crispy all the time, no matter what I did. So I lost all of the roots in the moss pole, and I just was like, okay, we're starting over, I'm going to chop it up. And this has proven to be the hardest philodendron to propagate from a wet stick. All of them mushed except for one that I have in a prop box, and I'm actually debating keeping that one over keeping the bottom cut, just because that one is a little bit nicer. Oh, got a new leaf coming in. But this is the butt cut of it, and she is putting out decent sized leaves. Like, they're bigger than I would have expected, but they're also like not as big as she once was, so that kind of makes me sad. But I'd love to have a really nice one of these. I love the silver foliage. She's stunning, and look at that new leaf, looks pretty big. So anyway, yeah, this is Philodendron Silver Sword. Pretty available. Like, if in all honesty I thought about just getting a new one, just selling whatever propagations I have and getting a new one, but I would like to grow it into a moss pole from juvenile state, so maybe I'll just do the one in the prop box, or this one when it's ready. Anywho, the next one is one that I'm quite literally obsessed with. This is my Philodendron gigas, and she is crispy. She needs water desperately. Oh gosh. She is one of the darkest, most easy to adhere to a moss pole plants I have ever experienced. She is rooting in pretty well. That has taken a while, to be honest. She doesn't want to root in, but the way that she sits flat, like, look how many leaves she has, and she's only this far up the pole. Like, in comparison, 3 leaves up to here. How many? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Half the size. Anyways, I want love, a big, beautiful gigas. Definitely gonna be watering her after this video to help with that vision. But she has a new leaf coming out, and these have the most silvery, not silvery, like iridescent, shiny leaves. Like, I don't know if you're going to be able to see, but in person, they're glittery. And she also just needs water. I think that's why she's curled up a little bit. Yeah, she just needs water. She's a little dry. But, yeah, a really easy plant so far. And I really hope she just gets bigger and bigger leaves. Because, like, even look in the comparison from, like, this is one of her first leaves to this one. That's a huge jump in a couple of leaves. And the inner nodes are pretty small. Yeah, I'm pretty obsessed. So, Philodendron gigas, not necessarily underrated, but not talked about a lot. You know what I'm saying? Like, people care, but they also don't talk about her. But that's how I feel like a lot of philodendrons are right now. Anyways, I'll pop her. Oh, that's all the way in the view. That's kind of better. Okay. Which ones do I want to talk about next? We'll talk about this one. Yeah, let's talk about this one next. Oh, she's kind of falling over. This pot, or the little cup that she's in, is not the same size as this pot, so I put her on a little thing at the bottom and she kind of wobbles off it. But this is my Philodendron Majestic that I've grown from wet sticks in just a couple months. Like maybe, when did I get her? May or April, when I just finished finals in college. I decided I was going to treat myself with a plant from Facebook Marketplace, and I looked and I was like, there's not really anything good. And then I found these, which was a pack of like 10 for $8 or something, wet sticks, which I haven't seen a Majestic in person prior to like these wet sticks. And the leaves are still really small, but she's growing out. She just came out of high humidity and propped on the moss pole, so her newest leaf is a little curly and janky, but I think it will just continue to get better. I want big, beautiful leaves on her. I'm literally obsessed with the Majestic. It's so stunning to me. I love Loud Fern. Used to have a beautiful Majestic, good growing, had a nice one, and who else? I don't know. I feel like so many people have beautiful Majestics and they say that they just size up so easily and they're so nice. Okay, sorry, I just received a call and that adjusted a little bit, but I was just saying that this philodendron is kind of a staple in a lot of people's collections. It's so silvery and magical. I don't know, I am quite obsessed, and she doesn't look like much now, but believe me, if I could get a beautiful one, it would be so amazing that I grew her out from tiny little wet sticks in a prop box in some moss and then had big beautiful leaves. That's the goal. Okay, next plant is kind of similar actually. I feel like most of my philodendrons are different. Like I really try, sorry 1 second. I really try not to have the same vibe of a plant. Like the Splendid is so different than the Gigas, and the Gigas is different than the hanging heartleaf philodendron or the squamiferum. Like I just feel like most of them are very different. Maybe the melanochrysum and the Splendid are the most similar because the melanochrysum is one of the parent plants. But this one and the Majestic are also very similar, and I think this one is a parent plant to the Majestic because the Majestic is also a hybrid. But this is the Brantianum or the Philobrandy, and these are pretty big leaves for Brandy, I would say, because I feel like normally they are like that size and they don't size up. And most people say that the Brandy doesn't size up. Don't get the Brandy because it's so hard. Well, this hasn't been a hard plant for me. Maybe I'm just lucky. I cut these all up for propagations, and I want a trailing Brandy, and look at those roots. Oh, can you even see? Yeah, right there. I would love a trailing Brandy. I think that would be so cool. I love trailing philodendron. We're going to talk about 2 of them that I have, that I already said are strung up on the wall, and then obviously I have the lemon lime. But this one is the one that I'm keeping on the moss pole because I would like both. I would love to size up one and then see how it does. Like, could I get it big? But this is what she looks like right now. She's so pretty. And then this is the one I'm going to be turning into a little hanging basket, you know what I'm saying? So the Brandy is really cool. I don't know if I love it as much as the Majestic, but I also didn't think I would love it at all. Like, I was kind of obsessed for a while. I need a Brandy, I need one. Then I was like, ugh, they're kind of ugly, I don't like them. And then I saw one in person and I was like, never mind, they're kind of pretty. And then I've been growing it and it's been easy to propagate, easy to grow. It grew into the moss pole in no time. And I feel like because of that, I'm more inclined to love it, and the design is getting cooler to me. The more, I feel like the easier a plant is, the more I appreciate it. But also I'm growing her, this is so silly, I'm growing her in leca that I put a little bit of moss on the top to keep humidity, but I think she's doing really well. I actually have a couple of plants in leca and a lot of plants in a moss and leca hybrid situation. I don't know why, but I feel like it's a really easy way to propagate and an easy way to keep moss hydrated, because I think plants grow well in moss, but they just dry out. So having the leca really helps that. Yeah, that's my philodendron brandy. The next one I am gonna talk to you about. Actually, I think I'm gonna do the 3 that are on the walls, and then we're gonna save the last 2 because those are kind of my favorites right now. And I just want to save them for last. I mean, they're all kind of my favorites in some ways, but I really am loving the other ones. So I'm gonna quickly grab the lemon lime and then we'll do B-roll of the other 2. So apparently I lied again because I actually have 2, I have 18 philodendrons because this one is another one that I found in my propagation station that I forgot about because she's not in soil. But I feel like she's still worth talking about even if she's not in soil. Yeah. Okay, so this is my philodendron lemon lime. This one I also got for $5 because she was not looking too good, and then she was gorgeous, and I mean trailing goddess, and I had her in a hanging planter and I just kind of forgot about her, forgot to water her, and then she started looking sad, so I watered her, and then she just got dry rot and couldn't recover. So I chopped her up and I put her in here. Some of them I didn't save, but for the most part, she's doing pretty good. I actually might transfer her to moss because I feel like the water, she's been in here for so long and she only has a couple of roots. So I might do a little moss cup thing again with her. But yeah, this is my philodendron lemon lime. I love her. I think I like her a lot more than the imperial gold just because the coloring is similar, but this one is better in my opinion, and it trails. The other one I don't really know what I'm going to do with when it gets big. Like, is it going to go up? Is it going to fall over? I'm going to stake it? I don't know. But this one is pretty common, honestly, and it's these 2 I feel like would look good in a planter. You're kidding. I would do that. Clumsy little me. Well, I'm gonna clean that up and we'll keep talking about her in a second. 1 sec. This is a ridiculous amount of water for that little of a jar. Like, what the heck is with that? I feel like you're not a true plant person if you don't spill water everywhere, all the time. Especially when watering, but just whenever. So anyway, I feel like the lemon lime and the traditional Hartley's philodendron would look good hanging next to each other. If I could get 2 really large ones. I think the friend did that, and then she also put a Brazil, which would be so cool to have like lemon lime Brazil. This one's just like these 2 kind of like came together, even though they didn't, but it kind of looks like they did. Yeah, but she's super pretty. So 18 philodendrons, huh? I feel like it's kind of a lot, especially nowadays where people just don't have as many because they're not really that into them. But yeah, and I guess I have 2 more, but I'm trying to sell those. I have a really straggly looking crocodile, golden crocodile, but I just want to get a new one altogether because I love that plant, but it's just not growing for me well. And then another one which has my Prince of Orange, which also just doesn't look good, and I'm just gonna get rid of. I don't want it at all. So I guess 20, but we're gonna call it 18. Anyways, moving on to the next one, which was also being propped in water because I rotted her at one point. What is this trend about like rotting my plants? I'm an overwaterer, like for the most part, except for the lemon lime that I underwater. But for the most part, I overwater like crazy, and I'm getting better, especially with leca. I think leca is helping me not overwater because it's like, oh, well, it's up to the line. That's all you need. Anyways, this is a pink princess, which is kind of stunning. Like, she has really good variegation, I think. But I'm not huge on the pink princess. I feel like once they get mature, they just look ugly. Like, baby, it's beautiful. Adult, not really. I feel like the Red Anderson looks better, or even just a normal white variegated royal philodendron. But if you're gonna go pink, I feel like just go Red Anderson, and I might invest in that. But they're kind of hard to find still. And I don't know if I want to put her, like I want one on a pole and I want one to just be beautiful, but I just don't feel like the pink princess, I don't think anybody's having good luck with the pink princess. I really don't see it on Instagram where it's like, oh my gosh, it's stunning as a, like, mature. But I'm sure somebody's had good luck because they were huge. They blew up, but they also blew up as juveniles, I feel like. Most people saw them as babies and they were like, oh my gosh, it's pink. Anyways, yeah, so she's cool, but like not my favorite philodendron, which is funny because I feel like she's my most colorful or like unique philodendron because most of mine are green, silver, or dark velvet. Yeah, anyways, let's move on to another silver philodendron and then we'll talk about my hanging ones. Excuse me while I reach over my counter. This one is one that I love. Like, I love this plant. And I didn't even, like, mean to. I mean, she was $10. Not just for her, but for a sister. There's 2 plants in the pot. The sister I sold. And then I actually propagated the top of the sister. I'll show you. Because I thought that this top was stunning. I don't know what I'm going to do with her now. But she has such good roots. I just barely popped her in like a little while ago. Look at that, like, I don't know, it's bigger than the other ones and it's giving more mature. So I just had to keep the top cut, but I just sold the bottom. Oh, I'm scared to put that back in. I'll do that in a minute. But yeah, this is Philodendron longbatimum. I think that's how you say that. I don't know. I'll put the name up for you guys if you know. I loved the way this looked, especially this leaf. It was giving Jobii or Philodendron 6996, which is both of those philodendron are ones that I would dye, specifically the Jobii. I like that one better, I think, to have. Definitely dream philodendron. But I saw that and I was like, oh my gosh, only for $10 for 2 plants. It's stunning. What is it? And it had no ID. And then I saw Natasha from Planted in Platinum on Instagram advertising a mature one. And I was like, wait, that's what I have. It's kind of a little bit silvery. It's a little bit dragon head-esque. And the mature ones, you guys, are amazing. And I was like, I have that. I have that. Like, and I feel like nobody's talking about them. Nobody has one, and maybe one day they'll blow up. Because I don't think they've ever blown up. Maybe they have, but I don't remember it. And, like, and nobody talks about them ever. Nobody has one since they blew up, and it's like, oh, I'm just keeping this around like a pink princess, you know what I'm saying? But maybe one day they'll blow up, and I'll just have gotten one for $10 and have this really nice one. Because I feel like sometimes that happens. People will get something a long time ago before nobody cares, and then people care and you have the coolest one. But either way, I love her, whether or not she's popular. That's her newest leaf, which is so glossy and pretty, still hardening off. And she's gonna get stunning. And even this one is like giving that, almost getting to the mature form. Yeah, so I really like this plant and I'm kind of obsessed with her. She rooted in almost immediately. She wanted to go. She wanted to, like, and her roots, as you can see, are chunky and nice. Had no issues with raw. I mean, I've only had her for like maybe 3 months, but sometimes I feel like you have issues early on with philodendron. It just kind of depends on the philodendron, but no issues here. Yeah, we'll see how she does. Okay, let's talk about my philodendron micans, which I'm just gonna talk about. She's right up there, I can see her. She is a dark velvety philodendron. She's kind of similar to a splendid with that heart leaf shape, but she trails. And I feel like micans had its moment for sure. People were obsessed, and then there's the variegated micans, which, to be honest, isn't my cup of tea. I don't really need her to have pink because I like the dark on her. Yeah, she's hanging on my wall, mounted, and dark, so dark. I'm literally obsessed. I've seen so many cool pictures of the Mycans. I feel like the Mycans grows quickly. It's very easy. I've never had problems. I've heard that they can be pest magnets, but I've never had pests on her. I actually don't have any pests, knock on wood, right now. None that I can see. I have a bunch of springtails in my prop box and some predatory mites that I think came on my moss, which is awesome. And I do really well on pest treatment. I think when you have less than a normal, like when you have roughly 100 plants, it's easy to keep maintenance, or at least I'm seeing that. Like, I really don't have that much to do. But either way, the Mycans is a beautiful Hartley philodendron. Like, I don't really know what else to say about her. I love that she's in a white pot because I think it contrasts the dark. And yeah, that's my Mycans. I strung her up a little while ago. If you want to see a video on that, it's on my Instagram. And yeah, she's stunning. Then the other one is a Brazil, which I had a Brazil that I got for $5 on Facebook Marketplace, and it was small and it suffered from rot. I think that was totally my fault. I was just overwatering her. I don't know why. I used to be such an overwaterer. I used to get so freaked out by philodendron, like, oh, they need more water, just more and more. And like, they're not an anthurium. I actually really like anthuriums because I've never rotted one before, and I just keep watering them and they're fine and they love it. But the Brazil I got for $10, which is crazy, and it was pretty much that size. Like, it's grown a little bit, and I've kind of pinned it up, but the pins that I used were definitely too small. So I'm gonna have to find bigger ones, probably just do a Home Depot run, buy some bigger ones, pin her up like the Mycans, and just complete that space. But I love the Brazil. I think she's stunning. She's not my favorite philodendron, but she is cool. Anyway, that's all I have to say about her. My last plant that I want to talk to you about is probably my favorite, probably my favorite philodendron that I have. You're kidding, right? This is my Florida Ghost mint variegated. Oh my gosh. So this is one of the parent plants is the squamiferum. You can kind of tell because it has these little nubbins that are red on the petiole, and that's kind of similar to the like fuzziness of the squamiferum. But this one is my favorite leaf for sure. Well, maybe. It's so stunning, but this one's pretty good too. And this is the newest, which is kind of weird. I don't think it was giving enough light maybe in comparison to the other ones, but it is huge and it has a little bit of damage, but it's really fine. She's just sprawling, living her best life. I would love to style her similarly to maybe wild ferns, which grows trailing similarly to, or like crawling across the wall similarly to how I would do my squamiferum. I don't ever really want to have a crawler in a crawler pot. I only want crawlers that could like crawl across my wall. So if I got something that was crawling, I probably wouldn't put it in a pot. I would probably just pin it up against the wall because I love that look. It's very jungly. But this one could also be on a moss ball. And there are so many roots. Like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to. Yeah, I don't know. But the roots go crazy. This one is also in no drainage. Can you even see all the noodles? Oh my gosh. And there's roots coming out of the node. So many roots, so many aerial roots. Like, it wants something to climb, I feel like. And I think if I put it up against my wall, it might just tack into my wall, which is fine because I'm repainting this apartment when I move out anyways. But I don't know if I want to do that much wall repair because I already have to do a lot out of all the things I've put up in this space. Debatable what I'm gonna do, but for now she's not even like falling over. She's just kind of small. The petioles, or I mean not the petioles, the internodal spacing is tight. Like, it's like this tall and she has this many leaves. The heck? Yeah. Stunning. Got her from a guy on Facebook Marketplace who was just the sweetest guy. So nice. And he had a big mother plant. This was just a propagation from his mom. And I was like, what? You're kidding. And I got her for $25, I think. Which I'm just saying that to kind of document for myself plant prices. Like, what is this going to be cost? What is this going to be worth in the future? And I feel like the plant market is so saturated right now that like you can really get anything for cheap. Not anything. There's still like rare plants, but more things are just. He was asking 30 and I asked him 5 off. I didn't think he was gonna take it, and all of a sudden he was like, yep, come pick it up. Which I was so happy about. Like, come on. And yeah, so this is the last plant in my philodendron collection. Thank you so much for letting me just yap your ear off about philodendrons. I'm obsessed with them. I love them. Thank you for just listening, watching, and being here on my channel. I hope you join me for a new video, hopefully once a week, but we'll see how that goes. And also, if you want to go over to my Instagram, it'll be in the description, and I have some cool reels over there, and I'm just making more and more content, and I'm having so much fun with it. I really just want this channel to be like a virtual diary of my plant growth, what my opinions are, how my plants grow and change, and my personal love for plants expands. So yes, thank you so much for joining me in my jungle, and I hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and I will see you guys in my next video. Thanks.